You know, in today's industrial world, data is king. It's what drives everything: innovation, big decisions, you name it. But as we're all jumping into this new era, Industry 4.0, there's this one huge challenge that's just hanging over everything. And really, that whole challenge boils down to one simple but, let's be honest, incredibly complex question. Can you really trust your data? And I don't just mean sometimes, I mean continuously, at a massive scale, and all while regulators are looking over your shoulder. It's the one question that every single organization out there has to figure out, and fast. I mean, think about it. The stakes here, they couldn't be higher. We're living in a world where a single bad data set, just one, can completely derail your entire operation. It can mess up your compliance, absolutely wreck your shiny new AI models, and grind your most critical systems to a dead stop. Okay, so this gets us right to the heart of what we call the data trust problem. See, the old ways of doing things, those once-a-year audits or traditional data governance frameworks, they just don't cut it anymore. They simply can't keep up with this real-time world we're in. And the complexity we're talking about here is just immense. Your data isn't just sitting neatly in some database anymore, right? Nope. It's streaming in 24/7 from sensors on the factory floor, from those super-critical SCADA systems that control all the industrial processes, from a whole bunch of different cloud platforms, and it's all getting piped directly into these really sophisticated AI models. The sheer amount of data and the speed it's coming at you, it's just staggering. So the big question is, what happens when you can't trust all that data? Well, the consequences are very, very real, and trust me, they're expensive. This is where we really start to see the high cost of failure. And this right here really shows you the gap we're trying to bridge. On one side, you've got all these constant risks, things like your data slowly drifting and becoming inaccurate, getting misclassified, or even being accessed by someone who shouldn't have access. But on the other side, you have the gold standard for data integrity. It's called ALCOA+. Now, this is a framework that's absolutely crucial in regulated industries, and it says all your data has to be attributable, so you know who made it. Legible, contemporaneous, meaning it's recorded right when it happens. Original, and of course, accurate. But wait, there's more. The little plus in ALCOA+, that actually stands for 4 more critical principles. Your data also has to be complete, consistent, enduring, so it lasts over time, and available right when you need it. That whole package, that's the benchmark. That's what truly trustworthy data looks like. So, how in the world do you bridge that gap between all those real-time risks and this gold standard? Well, it's going to take a totally new way of thinking. It requires a new paradigm, a framework built from the ground up for this very challenge, and it's called cDIPM. All right, so what is cDIPM? It stands for Continuous Data Integrity Posture Management, and at its heart, it's an operational framework. But the most important word in that whole phrase is continuous. We're not talking about a one-time check. This is a constant, always-on, vigilant process that's making sure your data's integrity, where it came from, its security, and its availability are all rock solid. So, how does it actually do all that? Well, this framework is built on 6 core pillars. First, it goes out and discovers and classifies your data so you actually know what you have and where it all lives. Then, it tracks its entire history. We call that lineage and provenance, so you know where it came from and every single change ever made. Next, it governs access. Who can see what and when? It's also constantly monitoring for any integrity problems, and this is a big one. It has something called data detection and response, or DDR, to automatically jump on threats. And finally, the best part for a lot of people, it automates that painful, super time-consuming audit process. Now, this really gets to the heart of the big shift in thinking. We are moving away from that old model of slow, reactive, manual audits that always happen after something's already gone wrong. Instead, cDIPM is all about being proactive. It's about real-time validation, catching issues before they can cause any damage. It's actually a self-reinforcing system that learns and gets more effective over time. Okay, the theory is great, but let's make this real. Let's look at how cDIPM works in action with a real-world example, say, for a predictive maintenance model. So picture this. You've got sensors on a giant turbine, and they're streaming all this temperature and vibration data. As that data comes in, cDIPM is right there, immediately validating that it's good. But then, someone makes a mistake, a permission gets misconfigured, and suddenly some raw data is exposed. This is where that data detection and response pillar, the DDR, kicks in. It spots the threat, and boom, automatically revokes that risky access. Fast forward to audit time. The compliance team, they can export all the unchangeable evidence they need in just a few minutes, not the weeks it used to take. And here's the result, the really crucial part. The final prediction that the AI model makes about that turbine's health, it's built on a foundation of data that is 100% validated, compliant, and completely trustworthy. This means the business can actually rely on that prediction. No questions asked. Look, this is so much more than just ticking some compliance boxes or, trying to avoid a disaster. This is about turning data integrity into a real, genuine competitive advantage. So let's talk about the benefits and how you can actually get there. Especially for those highly regulated industries like life sciences or manufacturing, the payoff here is just huge. You get this incredible regulatory confidence because you know you're always ready for an inspection. You build real operational resilience by catching things like data drift before they become big problems. Audits get way faster and a whole lot less painful. And maybe most importantly, you're creating the secure foundation you need to really innovate with cool stuff like AI and digital twins. So, how does a company actually do this? It's not as scary as it sounds. It's a structured, manageable process. You start with phase 1, the foundation. That's where you connect your most critical data sources and just get a baseline of your integrity. Then, in phase 2, you do a pilot. You pick one key high-value project and turn on monitoring just for that to prove it works. Once that's a success, you move to phase 3, scale. This is the big one. You extend the framework across everything, your OT on the factory floor, your cloud stuff, and you plug it into your other security tools like IAM and SIEM. And finally, phase 4 is all about optimization. You start automating remediation and tracking your KPIs to really measure your success. At the end of the day, a framework like cDIPM isn't just another line item on a budget. It's a strategic move. It's what turns those must-haves, compliance, resilience, and trust into a real measurable competitive advantage. And that really leaves us with one final thought to chew on. In the world we live in now, your data is never neutral. So you really have to take a hard look at your own operations and ask the tough question. Is your data an asset that you can build on? Or is it a liability just waiting to blow up in your face? Visit continuousintelligence.ai to start your robust data integrity posture today.